Hey, and welcome to today's video. I'm now getting another one out, finally. Today we're going to dive into Realmheart, also known as Arthur's second phase. Whether you just want to fresh up on the details, or are interested in how strong it is, you are welcome here. Alright, so Realmheart is the form granted by the second phase of Sylvia's Beast Will, one of Arthur's core abilities. Now let me quickly cover Sylvia's Beast Will. Realmheart is just one facet of this anomaly of a Beast Will, and is only granted to him in his Integrate phase. The first phase is called the Acquire phase, and here Arthur gets access to Sylvia's Time Stop ability, that we all know and love as Static Void. Do I need to cover Static Void? We all know it's... How he gets that before Realmheart is beyond me, but hey, he does have runes. By the way, does this form even have a name? Like, how do we refer to this? Like, Realmhalf? Oh well, back to Realmheart. While in this form, Arthur's appearance changes to resemble Sylvia. In this state, his insight and efficiency with mana is enhanced, enabling the use of new deviant elements and even better versions of the ones he's got. I want to highlight Absolute Zero in particular. His go-to ice spell that freezes so much you literally can't freeze them any harder. These little runes lining up all over Arthur's body can be read by the dragons of the Indrat clan and reveal the branch of Aether he has an aptitude for, Spatium in Arthur's case. Mirror states that Realmheart is exclusive to the Indrat clan and is rare even among the Asura. Furthermore, you can't master more than one branch of Aether, Avium, Spatium or Vivium. Beyond the bloodline requirement, there is also the necessity of insight into each of the four basic elements, if you actually want to comprehend, study and utilize Aether, these being the primary functions of Realmheart. In Arthur's case, he was able to gain insight into each element because of his quadri-elemental affinity that he got from absorbing each type of particle during the refinement process, or his early meditation. As Mirror would like to say, it is through the ability to gain insight into all four of the fundamental elements that we were able to take a look beyond the water and realize the glass cup that we are held in. Since Arthur isn't of the Indrat bloodline, let alone an Asura, he is held back from unleashing the full potential of the form, and the backlash hits him hard whenever he does sink too deep into the Realmheart physique. Since Mirror has given us such an elegant model in the water in a cup analogy, I'm going to throw out a metaphor of my own to explain what Realmheart is. Real quick and easy. If Realmheart is a magnifying glass of sorts, it can function as a tool for investigating and gaining insight about the world, but you can also just slap it onto a rifle, which gives improved accuracy and control with that rifle. In other words, it can become a deadly weapon. So if we take Arthur out of Realmheart, it's like he's trying to investigate without seeing anything, or snipe without magnification. Basic effects from entering Realmheart includes seeing mana particles, higher attunement to the physical realm, improved mana sensory capabilities, better control over mana as well as insight. Aether particles only became visible to Arthur once he reached the Silver Core. These let Arthur predict and even disrupt enemy spells, a power that is almost exclusively unique to Arthur in the whole story. While in Realmheart, we've seen Arthur unlocking a wide range of advanced deviant magic like black lightning and ice, and even new elements like gravity. Arthur previously took Realmheart to be a mere power buff, but it actually has no such effect. Still though, the end result is Arthur becoming a stronger fighter, stemming from the improved mana efficiency, control and insight. So some of you are probably wanting to know how strong is Realmheart. Going back to the Elderwood Guardian fight, we see a real dire situation. Defeating the famed EG all solo easily makes Arthur an SS level adventurer, since they do say that one beast requires a group of adventurers of the same rank. Before this dungeon, Arthur fought evenly with Caspian, an AA level adventurer. We see that Arthur can effectively rise 2 adventurer ranks in power and combat ability. With that out of the way, we'll skip ahead to Arthur's training with the Elders and Catelyn during the war. So obviously we are getting into some minor spoilers here, but I'll keep it as comic friendly as possible for now. Here we get to see some concrete actual facts about Arthur's Realmheart compared to his base form, so I thought it had to be worth mentioning. First, we have the FPU results. To remind you, Emily was testing Arthur and the others using what she called force per unit. Now, I tried wrapping my head around this, and for a while I couldn't for the life of me tell you exactly what this is supposed to measure. But I realized it's probably meant to be understood as an efficiency function, just like miles per hour measures how fast or time efficient you are. Arthur ranked in the 19th percentile while in his normal form, while his Realmheart form took him all the way to the top, the 99th percentile. Now, it is important to establish the test pool, how large it is and who we are talking about. At the time, this magical benchmark had 200 results from other Academy students and soldiers. So you can see how it is a bit hard to gather anything concrete about Realmheart from this, both because of the small sample size and the frankly underwhelming participants. The lances were also not said to have participated. So all we can really say here is that Arthur's average spell power went from being below the Silver Core Elders to being definitely above them. So yes, he does hit harder when he is in Realmheart because of the efficiency and insight. Arthur's elf assistant Alanis has an ability that lets her observe mana flow when she makes a physical connection with an individual. What does this mean exactly, you ask? Well, only those fortunate enough to receive a physical connection has had the pleasure of knowing that. But more seriously, we can tell she's talking about the flow from your mana core to your extremities whenever you manipulate mana. So what does that mean? Is it just the speed of your powering up? Or is it the continuous flow of your mana throughout the fights? I believe it could be both. For Arthur's base augmentation, the flow clocked out at 0.46 seconds. This speed here is also said to be on par with most of the other lances. Alanis also mentions Arthur's spellcasting speed. Here we learn that wind and earth spells are slower than lightning and ice spells by 40% and 55% respectively. Arthur's spellcasting speed increased nearly 5-fold across the board once he entered Realmheart. But how big is the difference in augmentation speed when he enters Realmheart? You might remember that this speed was too fast for Alanis to measure. In fact, it was much too fast for her to even attempt to measure. Arthur is clearly going beyond this limit, which she stated. And the phrasing also tells us that it wasn't by any small margin. Now, we don't know her core stage, We never even see her again, so her limit could be anything really. Still, even if there isn't any objective way to find a difference, the best I can think of is assuming a perception blitz multiplier. There are varying opinions on how much faster you need to be in order to blitz someone, but most people fall in between 3 to 6 times. That means that Arthur's augmentation speed in Realmheart should be 3 to 6 times faster than in his base form. So here is where I'll remind you again, I'm getting into some pretty major plot points here for volume 7. So if you haven't read the novel at all, or you have just started switching over, you're in volume 6 or whatever, or you haven't finished volume 7, I'd recommend trying to hold off on this part right here and read a novel. It's pretty good. At the end of his journey with mana, he shows the usage of Frostfire and condensed mana bullets. Here we also see the form that has become known as Phase 3, or Unleashed Realmheart, whatever you want to call it. Arthur hears Sylvia's voice call to him, and he gives up his control to channel even more of her power, later saying that he has control over the full, unrestrained power of Realmheart. In this state, he displays feats such as spatium teleportation, etheric lightning, etheric frostfire, and more. This unleashed Realmheart also destroys you from the inside and is essentially a suicide gambit. Also, real quick, can we talk about the fact that Sylvia's Beast Will lets Arthur use 2 of the Aether paths? After solving the second keystone, Arthur acquires Realmheart once again. This works mostly the same way as Sylvia's Realmheart, but of course he doesn't have mana for all his deviant elements, and no static void either. That one was borrowed from Sylvia's Beast Will and wasn't his ability in the first place. However, there are some things to talk about. We see Arthur receiving heightened senses, feeling more attuned to the physical realm. He can sense mana again now, even down to how mana moves from someone's core to form their spells. As he fought the Wraiths shortly after, Arthur uses this mana sense to keep up with their barrage of spells, and he says himself that he needs to go all out in this situation. You could easily say that Arthur would be in some real trouble if he didn't have this honestly basic ability to sense all the mana moving around him. Throughout this same battle, we see Arthur actually learn to influence mana through his Aether, by manipulating the curtain between the different energies. This means that Aether Arthur effectively has recovered his spell disruption ability that he learned with Sylvia's Realmheart, but now easily an even better version of it. But that is all for today, guys. Hope you learned something new about Realmheart. Thank you for watching to the very end. Feel free to leave a comment, a like, or hell, even a sub if you want to catch my next drop. That will happen eventually. I'll see you later. Take care and have a majestic rest of the day.